Breaking tonight, just hours ago, the Hillary Clinton campaign reacting to stunning new bribery allegations from a book that the New York Times calls, quote, the most anticipated and feared book of a presidential cycle still in its infancy. Good evening and welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. This book is titled Clinton Cash. The author claims that as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton did favors for foreign governments and groups in exchange for cold, hard cash. Sky-high speaking fees for former President Bill Clinton, to name one, and donations to the Clinton Family Foundation, their charity, to name another. Today in New Hampshire, Mrs. Clinton sort of responded. And just a short time ago, the Clinton campaign chairman came out with his own explanation. Tonight, we have a huge guest lineup on this, including Judge Andrew Napolitano on the legal fallout, Chris Stirewalt on the effect on Hillary Clinton's campaign, and possible 2016 Republican presidential contender, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker is here with his take on Hillary and his own vision for the country. But first, Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry is traveling with the Clinton campaign in New Hampshire tonight. Ed?
Megyn, what's new tonight is the connecting of the dots. We knew for some time that millions had flowed in to the Clinton Foundation from foreign governments and businesses as well. What's new is a specific claim in this new book, Clinton Cash, by Peter Schweitzer. The idea that's explosive is the allegation that as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton took official actions to help some of these foreign donors. One quick example, the idea that money flowed in from a Colombian oil company, and then the Secretary of State flipped her position and was suddenly in favor of a Colombian trade deal. As you mentioned, her campaign chairman, John Podesta, telling Bloomberg tonight this is all nonsense, that what the author did was cherry-pick public information from the foundation's donor list, and it is spinning conspiracy theories. The candidate herself tried today to stick to her middle-class message. She still has not done any media interviews, but at the end of her event here in New Hampshire today, she answered a couple of quick questions. Listen.
We're back into the political season, and therefore we will be subjected to all kinds of distraction and attacks, and I'm ready for that. I know that comes, unfortunately, with the territory. It is, I think, worth noting that the Republicans seem to be talking only about me. I don't know what they'd talk about if I weren't in the race, but I am in the race, and hopefully we'll get onto the issues, and I look forward to that.
So you listen closely. She calls it a distraction, but does not refute any of the allegations specifically. I spoke to one of her top campaign advisors tonight who tells me they're waiting until the actual book comes out, specific allegations come out. Then they claim to me tonight they will fight fire with fire and shoot it down. We'll see, Megyn.
Ed Henry, thank you. Joining us now with more, Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. How serious is this if they've got it on her, if they can prove it?
Well, these allegations are far more serious than those for which Senator Robert Menendez of New Jersey was indicted, and they essentially form the same type of allegation, a quid pro quo. You give cash to me or someone else on my behalf, and I exercise my official governmental judgment in favor of you. Now, I haven't seen the book. We haven't seen it, but we have read a version of it in the New York Times or a summary of it in the New York Times. And the allegations are truly damning. They are clearly enough to trigger an investigation. The allegations show timelines of contributions to the Family Foundation and decisions made by Mrs. Clinton favorable to the contributor, or contributions to the Family Foundation and sky-high $500,000 a speech, unheard of in this business, speaking fees to her husband, or contributions to the Family Foundation and 2 years later, sky-high speaking fees to Mrs. Clinton. Look, the essence of bribery is the quid pro quo. You do something for me or in my behalf, and I exercise my official governmental powers in favor of you. That's what Senator Menendez was indicted for, having to do with visas and having to do with Medicare reimbursement. This has to do with the foreign policy and arguably the security of the nation.
You're saying that this is not only potentially unethical, but she may have actually committed felonies while in office?
I am saying that if the version of the book that we have read stands up under scrutiny, the Justice Department must commence a criminal investigation of Mrs. Clinton's behavior during the time period about which the book was written.
To believe that she did this that she actually changed U.S. policy to line her own pockets, that of her family, you would have to be incredibly cynical, would you not? You would have to believe that Barack Obama put a public servant in there who cared much more about herself and her own wallet than she did about the American people.
Well, Barack Obama put a public servant in there who kept all of her emails from him and from the federal government contrary to law.
Well, but as I've said before on the show, is it really paranoia if they really are out to get you? I mean, I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that's somebody who's worried about people prying into her life, and she thinks she doesn't deserve it. I'm not excusing it. I'm saying that's one mindset. But to actually be compromising U.S. policy just to enrich yourself.
That is the allegation in the book. I don't know what Peter Schweitzer, the author, I don't know what his motivation may be. I understand Fox is going to interview him at the end of the week. But if the evidence is sound there, the Justice Department will have no choice but to commence an investigation or endure the mocking of the legal community that the Justice Department of the United States of America is not there to enforce federal law against a popular, whom they perceive to be popular, political figure.
If the timeline is convincing, it's a problem. She's going to have to explain if the timeline matches up or is suspicious. Judge, good to see you.
Thank you.
Well, just a short time ago, the chairman of the Clinton campaign, John Podesta, defended Hillary Clinton against these new allegations on Charlie Rose's show.
Book that's written by a former Bush operative who's a reporter for that august news institution, Breitbart.com, or has been in the past. He's cherry-picked information that's been disclosed and woven a bunch of conspiracy theories about it. The facts, there's nothing new about. The conspiracy theories, I guess we'll get to judge when we read the book.
Joining us now, Chris Direwalt, our Fox News digital politics editor. So it's just what they said earlier. It's absurd conspiracy theories. And Hillary Clinton, you heard her earlier saying she's going to be subjected to all kinds of distractions and attacks, and she is ready for it. But she didn't actually answer the attack. She just said she's ready for it.
And nor did Chairman Podesta, I guess, as he is now known. I didn't know campaigns got chairman like that. That's pretty impressive. But for Chairman Podesta and for this campaign, it isn't about answering the charges. It's about attacking the messenger. And this book and these allegations are, as you and the judge were talking about, far more consequential. In the past, it was about appearance of impropriety. It looked bad to destroy 31,000 emails. It looked bad to be taking foreign contributions while you were Secretary of State, while you were getting ready to run for president. This is an actual bad thing that they are accused of, so they're just going to attack.
It sounds like, and I haven't read the book yet, at best a circumstantial case. It doesn't sound like there is the smoking gun document that shows it was a quid pro quo, this for that. Instead, it shows, at best, I guess, Colombia wanted something done. It was done. Bill Clinton got a speech. So it's sort of going to be a circumstantial timeline argument to the people, but not necessarily something that they might prosecute for.
The whole point of the Clinton campaign now and going forward is to rally Democrats to her against what she used to call the vast right-wing conspiracy. And anybody who disagrees, anybody who attacks, anybody who even raises a legitimate question, even a line of inquiry. Can you imagine how freighted the process will be when Hillary Clinton eventually finally has to sit down to do an interview? This will be like the Yalta summit when she has to finally sit down, talk to a reporter, and try to figure out how to do this, because they have so much baggage they have to offload here, and they're going to have to do it continually in these very careful, very precise Clintonian turns of phrase so that they can stay on the attack, so that they can stay accusing Republicans and anybody who raises any questions.
Well, they're talking about,
he
comes out. So Podesta goes on the Charlie Rose show. He's interviewed there by Al Hunt, and he says, these are smears, it's attacks, and we've seen this before, and we're probably going to have to deal with this a lot. And yet, the New York Times and the Washington Post are partnering with Peter Schweitzer on this book, not exactly known for their right-wing bias. So how does she dismiss them so readily?
Well, he even puts a knock on the New York Times for being involved in. By the way, this is not something that is unheard of. What this is, you get advance access. You'll watch on the Fox News channel on Friday. You get a reporter makes a deal with another reporter and says, look, check out my stuff, look into it, see what's in there. If you think that it's good dope, then you report it and you build on what I did. But it's turning over your work in advance for somebody else to see, vet your work, and then pick up the ball and go from there.
And that's what he's doing. Fox News is there too. Fox News, New York Times, Washington Post, getting not partnering in terms of writing it, but in terms of vetting it and then taking the reporting to the next level. Last question for you. How likely, if at all, does this make it that some other Democrat might get a little more interested in this race?
Now that another thing John Podesta said was Hillary Clinton would debate. She would participate in debates. The value of opposing Hillary Clinton keeps getting higher and higher. You're going to get a lot of airtime, and I don't think these Democrats are going to want Martin O'Malley to have all the fun out there by himself. It's
very scary behind you. Big lightning storm down there in D.C.?
Washington is ablaze with this story, madam.
Very scary. Chris, great to see you. Good luck.
You too.
Well, as we mentioned at the top, Governor Scott Walker made some news on Hillary Clinton today, and you will hear that in a Kelly File exclusive next.